from a second undisclosed location. No laundry today. However, there was a game of rugby today, and that game of rugby was between England and South Africa. Yes, I was once again at the game. The atmosphere was insane, as I predicted in my previous videos. As it was at Twickenham and as it was seen as a worthy opponent, the crowd was into it. It was at night time, the lights were dim, the DJ was shit, but the atmosphere was great. The lights were concentrated on the pitch. I have to say, as an atmosphere, as a game, it was insane to be around. Even though it wasn't the result I was hoping for, it was still a great game. Getting right into the meat and potatoes of this bitch. I really think the turning point was at about the 65-minute mark, when England got the penalty, they got the yellow card, and they decided to go for the corner even though they were 2 scores down. 2 scores down, you have the opportunity to get 3 points, close the gap and make it a 1-score game. Instead, they go for the corner, they go for the line out, which was ballsy. Everyone said it in the crowd that it was ballsy. But the reality is they give the ball back, they give it as a free kick, and South Africa get the pressure taken off of them, and they still have their 9-point lead. And I think this is a kind of a larger, bigger picture kind of thing that I think separates these two teams right now. I hate to just be simple about this, but, you know, winners win. And South Africa are winners right now, and England are losers. I don't want to hate, it's just the way it is. I don't think England played badly. In fact, I would even say England played pretty well today. Through to that 60-minute mark, I think everyone that was from that shirt from 1 to 15 put in a solid effort. There are little bits and pieces that I want to talk about later on, but I think on the whole, I think England can be quite happy with what the effort was through to that 65-minute mark, where that key decision was made to go for the corner rather than the 3 points and equal the game up. Yes, some gaps were there that allowed South Africa to score tries, but I don't think you can deny that the one thing that separates this England team from previous England teams is their ability to have attacking forte, jazz and pizzazz that is fueled a lot by Marcus Smith, but if he's the kindling, the rest of the team is the overall dry timber that gets that fire going. And I think there's a lot of positive to take from that. My last video that I sent out, I think, was very much keyed around the fact that the media is hot on England's ass right now. And I think I've looked initially at what the reports are coming from the newspapers, and it seems a lot more positive about what's going on with the England team, even though I think the story is still a little bit the same. Honing it back around to the point that I was going to, England with 2 scores down, they go for the corner when they should have gone for 3 points instead to get it to a 1-score game. If the coin is reversed, if the chair is flipped, I think if South Africa are down by 9 points at that point, they go for the 3 points because they realise a 1-score game is much more pressure than a 2-score game to defend. Let's take it a step back. Let's rewind to selections at the beginning of the game. I'm going to talk about South Africa for a little bit in terms of their selection, just because I don't think I've talked about them much at the moment. It's been very much what England did or did not do. South Africa, the team that you selected. I think what was quite obvious here is that South Africa picked a team where they wanted to blitzkrieg all over England's ass. They wanted to dominate them from the first minute. They were willing to get rid of their safety valve that is the bomb squad in reserve. They got rid of that. 5 forwards on the bench. I think 2 players that really make the bomb squad what it is actually started the game, that being Itoje and RG Snyman. They're complete powerhouses, and they usually just kill a game when they come on that 60-minute mark, and they just add an extreme amount of power to both the scrum and the loose as well, that just closes out games. Not today. Rassie decided these guys are starting because I wanted to just superpower power over the line. The selection at fly half also suggested that to me with playing Manny Libbok, who I thought had a game that almost cost South Africa the game. I think his kicking was not great. I think he crumbled a little bit under pressure, which I think was definitely why he went down in the pecking order for South Africa leading up to that World Cup final. Those of you that remember, I think especially South African fans, Manny Libbok was playing great in the Rugby Championship, through to the point where we kind of got through close to the knockout stages of the World Cup. Defences started to play him hard, defences started to blitz him, and at that point, Handré Pollard was brought back in and he sailed the ship home for South Africa to win. And I think today we also saw again what Manny Libbok's limitations are. For a team that defends so brilliantly, for a team that makes so little mistakes, you cannot have a fly half that doesn't kick out of hand very well, that doesn't kick his points. And I will be honest with you, he is almost the sole reason why England were still allowed to stay in this game, from my humble opinion. Now, you might disagree with me, but I would say I think the selection of him at 10 suggested to me that Rassie wanted to play an open game, a flair game. He wanted to play a game where South Africa were in possession and they were going to go up by about 20 minutes to go, because he had sacrificed his bomb squad to get his most powerful players on the pitch right from the beginning, to then have his most quick backs on the pitch right from the beginning, and play blitzkrieg to quiet down any of the atmosphere that Twickenham has. As we all know, Rassie is 2 steps ahead of anybody else. Knowing that, Rassie, I think, understood that the Twickenham atmosphere, if you get 1, 2, 3 scores ahead of them, quiets down. This is not an atmosphere like the Aviva. This is not an atmosphere like Loftus. Twickenham, as I said in my last video, is a fickle crowd. And I genuinely think Rassie selected the team that he did today to get ahead early and quickly and put the game away. And I think a lot of the reason they didn't is because of the mistakes they made at fly half. I don't think Manny had a good game by any shape or form. And I think it's a strong reason why Handré Pollard came on around at that 60-minute mark to just stabilise the ship and just steer them home. Something I have to admit that I was wrong about in the past. And I know some of those of you that have been part of the channel, watching my content for a while, I have criticised Grant Williams as a scrum half. I didn't know what he really brought to the table. Boy, was I wrong today. That individual try that he had in the first half was sensational. Stepping around about 3 different England players, off the back of a ruck as well. Fantastic play. Also, quick ball out, boss the attack. He was great. And I had to say, hands up, criticism was not valid for me to not think Grant Williams is a superstar player. Very good game. And I think Cobus Reinhardt came on and he was also great. So both scrum halves, good. You've got something there. Keep riding it. Have to say, full credit to South Africa. I don't think they played their best game, and yet they still won by more than 9 points away from home. I think what's true in all sports is that a sign of a truly great team, a true champion, is a team that doesn't particularly play well, but still manages to win the game. And in this case, they've done that, and they've also won by more than 2 scores against an England team that's always been seen as up and coming and close to winning many, many times. So full credit. So South Africa knew how to close out the game, get the ball out, keep it going in the right areas of the pitch, play the game out in the way they wanted to. To be honest with you, as an England fan, with the fact that they managed to weather the storm for the first 50 or 60 minutes of the game, and they were still in touching distance, I think it really is an opportunity wasted. I think South Africa honestly were there for the taking. I think if this is a team like France and New Zealand and they were put in the same position, they would have put South Africa away. What South Africa, from my experience, usually does at this point in the game, at that 50, 60 minute mark, it's when the bomb squad comes on, they just kind of shut up shop, the set piece is solid, no mistakes are made at that point, the ball is run through the forwards. You usually have a fly half there that's just putting you in the right areas of the pitch, and its job's good because you've got a second pack on that's completely world class and they're completely fresh. So I have to say, if England were ever going to beat South Africa, this was their opportunity to do it, and they didn't do it because they're not as good as them. England are the nearly boys. They are the nearly boys in every single game they play with New Zealand, all 3 in a row. They are the nearly boys against the Wallabies, and they are again the nearly boys against South Africa, although they're slightly further away because I think South Africa are better than those teams as well. They are the almost nearly boys in playing South Africa. And now, for England, You play Japan next week, which really means nothing unless you lose, and then it means a lot. But if you win, or if you win by a long margin, it still doesn't mean very much whatsoever. And now you have 3-4 months going into the Six Nations, and then you've got Ireland to start the Six Nations, then France at home, and then I believe it's Scotland after that at home. Might be wrong about that. The important thing to note about this, and what I've said consistently over the last 2 videos, is England lose this game against South Africa. It changes nothing. We have rumination all the way through to the Six Nations. I think everyone could see them losing against Ireland. I think everyone could see them losing against France. I think it's very possible that they also lose against Scotland. I guarantee you, and I don't think this is the right decision, I think Borthwick should stay. But I think if England now lose those 3 games in a row because of how they performed in the autumn internationals, because of the pressure of the media, that will get through to the RFU. It will get through to Bill McSweeney, and ultimately Borthwick will end up getting fired. And it's not the right choice. I don't think England had any chance of winning this game. Not how it played out, not how South African players played. I think South Africa were the better team, but I think England could have won at least 2 of their tests against New Zealand that they played, and they certainly had the ability to beat the Wallabies as well. So we could be having a very different story here. Imagine if England had a test that they beat New Zealand, and then they beat the Wallabies, and maybe they beat New Zealand back at home as well, and then they have this exact same game against South Africa. I think they'll be talked about in a very different way. Even though they've played at such a level that gives you a lot of positivity around it. Look at the players they got throughout the pitch. Maybe the front row isn't great, but Chandler Cunningham-South is excellent. Maro Itoje is playing fantastically. Earl had another great game. Marcus Smith, boy, is he a good 10. And thank God he was not taken off at the 60-minute mark. Thank God that decision wasn't made. I could go on, but they are great, and they've got a lot to go for them, but they just need to start winning games. And the next 3 games they got in the Six Nations, it just feels like it's setting England up perfectly to then have the excuse to fire Borthwick, which is not the right decision. I just feel like I'm on the Titanic and I'm watching the iceberg come closer, and there's nothing that I can do to change the course of action. Okay. That's enough England whining. Let's look at this South Africa team in a little bit more detail. Let's go from 1 through to 15. Oxenchae comes off a bit early, but I have to say Oxenchae had England's number as well as the tie head for South Africa. I was at the game. I didn't have a chance to know who he was, but he was out scrummaging Ellis Genge. He got some clear penalties against him. Definitely collapsed the scrum. Ellis Genge did, and earned the penalty against South Africa. So he definitely had the go forward for that. So they were playing great. Second rows, RG Slime and Eben Etzebeth played the both full 80 minutes. And for those of you that like both of those players, it was always like we've never seen both of them, well, not never, but we've hardly ever seen both of these two just play second row for a full 80 minutes together. Boy, it was good. I mean, Eben Etzebeth, always excellent. There was obviously a planned tactic to charge down Jack van Poortvliet's box kicking, which was there. I think, I'll be honest with you, South African fans, don't get mad at me. There was one, and it wasn't the one that went for a try. So I'll give you that. You still deserve the try that you got. But Eben Etzebeth did have a plan to charge down JVP. And on 1 or 2 occasions, he did jump offside. Don't shoot me. It wasn't the try. The try where he did the charge down and the Marcus Smith, and then he got charged down, that was legit. But there was 1 or 2 that he was offside. However, there was a game plan. Eben Etzebeth executed it excellently. RG Snyman, as always, it just seems like, he has like 3 people tackling him, and then his arms just kind of like loop around people, and he offloads it. It's just such an advantage. And it was a joy to see both of them play at second row. Peter Steftotoy, another great game. Sia Khaleesi, another great game. Jasper Visa, impossible to have someone tackle him just one-on-one. You need at least 3 people tackling him. As I said, Grant Williams, great game, great individual try. Manny Libbok, not so good. But the centres that you had, Jesse Creel, always a great game. Damien Dialende, such a good footballer and secretly just so powerful. Like that try that they had over in the corner with Chesson Colby was basically built off of Damien Dialende being able to shrug off about 2 or 3 guys to go in. Like, excellent power. Jesse Creel, I think, had another great game, as I said. Chesson Colby, 2 tries, excellent. Kurt Lawrence, very, very good. Fassi wasn't that involved in the game, but was everything that was asked of him as well. from 1 to 15, from 1 to 23, such a strong team, like unbelievably good. I do think England tried to expose what they thought was like a weakness against South Africa, trying to go for the high ball on the wings, which kind of worked to a certain extent, but also didn't work to also another extent as well. Maybe it's something that other teams pick on with South Africa, trying to have that high ball under Colby and Curtly Lee Aronsa. It wasn't enough to win the game, so maybe people do or don't go for it, not 100% sure. But yeah, no, like a solid performance from South Africa, and they did enough to win the game and by 2 scores. So what a good team. Pollard as well, again, as a Leicester fan, coming on, controlling the game, getting it down, getting into the right areas of the pitch to finish the game, finish it off, control the game excellent, understood what the situation was, understood what had to be done to win the game. As a Leicester fan, always going to be a fan of Pollard, but I definitely do think he had a great game coming off the bench. I kind of find myself thinking, so it was, as I said, the obvious decision, 65 minutes, yellow card, go for the 3 points, make it a 1-score game. But I struggle to see what else England could do to win the game. I think JVP, as I said, I think he actually had a good game. I questioned his selection in terms of why he was in the team. I didn't think he earned the position by any stretch of the imagination, but I think he had a good game. I think Freddie Stewart definitely was good under the high ball and good in an attack in some instances. But I think there were 1 or 2 of the tries. I think he was a little bit exposed for his lack of pace. That Grant Williams try that I was talking about, he definitely just got stepped on and being caught in the wrong position. Cheslin Colby on one of the sides, he definitely got in through because Stewart just did not have the pace to get to him. So yeah, for me, I think Furbank, he's good enough under the high ball and he's much quicker than Stewart. Would the same thing have happened with Furbank being a fullback? Don't know, not sure. It's a constant continuation of England of just feeling like the nearly boys. We're nearly there, we're nearly there, we're nearly there. And the English media and the press, not myself, I can see the progress. Eventually they'll get sick of it and there'll be calls for Borthwick to leave, even though I don't think that's the right way to go. So that's it, that's all I have. South Africa, still number 1 team in the world, still very difficult to beat, still very, just have an aura about them, you know, they're just fantastic. Now that we're at the end of the video, I'm going to put this in here, and I'm just going to pre-text this by saying England still would not have won this game if this was different, but I do think the referee was slightly off today. He had to be brought back for those TMO decisions that were, I think, were glaringly obvious to anybody that was in the stadium. There was one, as I said, Ebenezer offside that he didn't call. He also missed Colby. There was a pass coming from a ruck that was outside the 22. Colby was back in the 22. Colby kicked it out on the full, completely missed it, just put it right down the halfway. Everyone in the stadium recognised this. TMO should have picked this up. Sideline judge should have picked this up. More importantly, the ref should have picked it up. He didn't. Again, I want to preface this. As much as I'm criticising the referee for not having a good game, it doesn't change the fact that England were worse than South Africa on the day. And it's why I've kept it to the end. I didn't want it to stain anything I've said about South Africa or England's performances. And yeah, that's the way it goes. So really, my summary is winners win and losers lose. And that's where we are. I'm going to take a bit of a break. It's been a bit intensive just getting out content. Like we're at, midnight tonight. Probably get the video out by about 1 or 2 a.m. tonight. I'm going to go on holiday next week, take some time off, get back into domestic rugby, but this is me for the next couple of weeks. As much as England have lost every game of the Autumn Nations, other than maybe next week against Japan, it has been enjoyable, but it's been, hard work trying to get content out for you guys, but I feel like I'm getting rewarded. You guys are interested in it, you're loving the content, people are tuning in and getting people commenting, people like the shorts as well. So I'm going to be hitting it just as hard after I've taken probably like a 2 or 3 week break, but just want to say, thanks to all of you. I see you commenting. I try and comment back when I can. And I'll keep trying to give you the content that you guys enjoy. Always enjoy the conversation. Please leave a comment. Let's talk about this game. As I said, taking a couple of weeks break off, but maybe I'll start replying to some of the comments, given the fact I don't feel like I need to keep getting content out. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.